And then, oh, lunchtime at Tamoy had always been fun, but lately a new interest had been added. The headmaster still inspected the lunch boxes of all 50 pupils to see if they had something from the ocean and something from the hills. And his wife, with her two saucepans, was ready to supply the missing elements from anyone's lunch. After which they would all sing, chew, chew, chew it all, everything you eat, followed by, I greatly partake, but from now on, after I gratefully partake, someone had to give a little talk. One day the headmaster said, I think we all ought to learn how to speak better. What do you think? After this, while we are eating out lunch, let's have somebody different each day stand in the middle of the circle and tell us about something. How about that? Some children thought they weren't very good at speaking, but it would be fun to listen to others. Some thought it would be super to tell people things they knew. Totto-Chan didn't know what she would talk about but was willing to give it a try. Most of the children were in favor of the idea, so they decided to start the talks the next day. Japanese children are usually taught at home not to talk at meal times. But as a result of this experience abroad, the headmaster used to encourage his pupils to take plenty of time over their meals and enjoy conversation. Besides that, he thought it was essential for them to learn how to get up in front of people and express their ideas clearly and freely without being embarrassed. So he decided it was time to put this theory into practice. After the children had agreed to the idea, this is what he told them. Totto-Chan listened attentively. You needn't worry about trying to be a good speaker, he said. And you can't talk about anything you like. And you can talk about anything you like. You can talk about things you would like to do, anything. At any rate, let's give it a try. The order of speakers was decided upon, and it was also decided that whoever was going to speak that day would eat lunch quickly, straight away after the song was over. The children soon discovered that unlike talking to 2 or 3 friends during lunch hour, standing up in the middle of the whole school needed a good deal of courage and was quite difficult. Some children were so shy at first that they just giggled. One boy had gone to a lot of effort and prepared a talk only to forget all of it the moment he stood up. He repeated several times his fine-sounding title, Why Frogs Jump Sideways, then started off with When It Rains, but got no further. Finally he said, That's all, bowed and went back to his seat. Totto-Chan's turn hadn't come yet, but she decided that when it did, she would tell her favorite story, The Prince and the Princess. Everyone knew it, and whenever she wanted to tell it during breaks, the children would say, We are tired of that one. But all the same, she decided that was the story she was going to tell. The new scheme was beginning to work rather well when one day the child whose turn it was to give a talk firmly refused. I have nothing to say, the boy declared. Totto-Chan was amazed to think that anyone could possibly have nothing to say. But that boy just didn't. The headmaster went over to the boy's desk with its empty lunchbox. So you have nothing to say, he said. Nothing. The boy wasn't trying to be clever or anything like that. He honestly couldn't think of anything to talk about. The headmaster threw back his head and laughed, heedless of the gaps in his teeth. Let's try and find you something to say. Find me something? The boy seemed startled. The headmaster got the boy to stand in the center of the ring while he sat down at the boy's desk. Try and remember, he said, what you did this morning after you got up and before you came to school. What did you do first? Well, said the boy, and then just scratched his head. Fine, said the headmaster. You've said well. You did have something to say. What did you do after well? Well, I got up, he said, scratching his head some more. Totto-Chan and others were amused, but listened attentively. The boy went on. Then he scratched his head again. The headmaster sat patiently watching the boy with a smile on his face and his hand clasped on the desk. Then he said, That's splendid. That will do. You got up this morning. You've made everyone understand that. You don't have to be amusing or make people laugh to be a good speaker. The important thing is that you said you hadn't had anything to talk about, and you did find something to say. But the boy didn't sit down. He said in a very loud voice. And then all the children leaned forward. The boy took a deep breath and went on. And then mother, she said, brush your teeth. So I brushed my teeth. The headmaster clapped. Everyone else clapped too. Whereupon the boy, in an even louder voice than before, went on again. And then the children stopped clapping and listened with bated breath, leaning forward even more. Finally, the boy said, fluently, and then I came to school. One of the older boys leaned forward. So far, he lost his balance and hit his face on his lunchbox. But everyone was terribly pleased the boy had found something to talk about. The headmaster clapped vigorously, and Totto-Chan and the others did too. Even and then, who was still standing in the midst, clapped. The assembly hall was filled with the sound of clapping. Even when he was a grown man, the boy probably never forgot the sound of that applause.